What if I told you that some of America's most beautiful islands hide dark, twisted secrets beneath their peaceful surfaces? Tonight, we're diving into the top 10 haunted islands where restless spirits still roam, places you won't want to visit alone. Ready to face the unknown? One, Alcatraz Island, California. They say if you listen closely on a foggy night, you can still hear the cell doors slam shut, even though the prison's been empty for decades. Alcatraz Island, off the coast of San Francisco, isn't just a piece of American history. It's a place that breathes with the memories of pain, madness, and death. The prison once held the country's most dangerous criminals, but some never left. Guards once reported eerie whispers echoing through empty halls, and cold spots that would chill them to the bone, even in the middle of summer. One man, placed in solitary confinement, screamed all night about a creature with glowing eyes staring at him from the darkness. By morning, he was dead, strangled, alone in a locked cell. And then there's cell 14D. Visitors say they feel an invisible force pressing on their chest, like the prison itself doesn't want to let them go. What really happened behind those steel bars? And more importantly, what's still lurking in the silence today? 2. North Brother Island, New York, just off the coast of the Bronx. Hidden beneath overgrown vines and crumbling ruins, lies an island the city pretends doesn't exist, but it remembers everything. North Brother Island was once a quarantine zone, a place where the sick were sent to die. Over 1,000 lives ended here during the General Slocum disaster, when a steamship caught fire and dozens of burning passengers washed ashore, screaming for help. The hospital couldn't save them. Many say their cries still echo through the trees. Then came the typhoid outbreaks. Typhoid Mary herself lived and died in isolation here. She's said to still wander the halls in silence, watching, waiting. The buildings are rotting. The birds have taken over. But sometimes, explorers hear footsteps crunching behind them. Doors creak open by themselves. Whispers slither through the ivy-covered walls. The island is off limits for a reason. But if no one's supposed to be there, who or what keeps moving in the shadows? 3. Mackinac Island, Michigan. Beneath the charm of horse-drawn carriages and Victorian hotels, Mackinac Island hides a dark, forgotten truth. Long before it became a tourist haven, this island was a battlefield soaked in blood and a sacred burial ground for Native American tribes. But instead of being honored, their graves were paved over to build roads and homes. The ground was disturbed, and something awoke. Guests at the historic Mission Point Resort often report a cold presence watching them. One spirit, said to be a heartbroken college student who took his life on the cliffs, appears in mirrors, crying softly before vanishing into the walls. Locals speak of phantom footsteps in empty halls, of a woman in black who glides through the woods without a sound, and of lights that flicker violently when no one's around. And when night falls, the cheerful island feels different, heavier, like the past is still alive, walking just behind you. So ask yourself, on Mackinac Island, are you ever really alone? 4. Deadmans Island, California. Its name alone should be a warning. Once looming off the coast near San Pedro, Deadmans Island earned its title the hard way, through centuries of blood, betrayal, and unmarked graves. Early explorers uncovered Native American skeletons buried in the cliffs, their bones falling into the sea as the island eroded. as if the land itself was trying to purge its pain. Sailors feared the place. Whispers of ghost ships and glowing figures walking the shoreline kept them away. Some claimed to see a man in tattered robes, his face twisted in agony, pointing out to sea before vanishing into the rocks. One story tells of a pirate who buried stolen treasure there, only to be murdered by his own crew. His dying curse, that no soul would ever leave the island with his gold, and none ever did. Today, most of the island is gone, swallowed by time and construction. But fishermen still say they hear low moans coming from the waves, as if the dead are calling out from beneath the water, begging to be remembered. Or worse, begging to be found. Five. Pea Patch Island, Port Delaware. Delaware. On a lonely island in the Delaware River stands a fortress built of stone and silence, but its halls are far from empty. Fort Delaware, once a Civil War prison, held thousands of Confederate soldiers, crammed into dank, disease-ridden rooms. Many never made it out. Some died from fever, others from despair. And some, they say, never left at all. Visitors today report the air turning icy cold without warning. Shadows dart across the walls. Footsteps echo when no one is there, and ghostly voices whisper in forgotten corners. One tourist swore she felt someone grab her hand in the dark, but she was alone. Paranormal investigators have captured screams, the sound of chains dragging, and even the voice of a man begging, "Please, help me." And then there's the basement, where prisoners were chained to the floor. People who enter often feel dizzy. Some collapse completely, as if the island is trying to pull them down into its past. So if you ever visit Pea Patch Island, listen closely, because the prisoners may still be waiting for someone to unlock the doors. 6. Skidaway Island, Georgia. The trees here whisper. The air hangs thick with stories not told, or maybe not meant to be told. Skidaway Island, just outside Savannah, is a place of eerie beauty. Marshlands, twisted oaks, and waters that seem too still. But beneath the moss-draped branches lies a darker truth. The island was once home to the Gullah people, rich in culture and deep-rooted in spiritual traditions. And with those traditions came powerful legends of restless spirits and things that walk at night. Locals speak of the Boo Hag, a skinless, red-eyed creature that slips into your room while you sleep, draining your breath. And sometimes, after dark, people hear scratching at their windows, though no one is ever there. There are stories of shadowy figures crossing empty roads, of cries echoing from the marsh, and lights bobbing deep in the woods, luring the curious off the path, never to return. Skidaway doesn't scream its secrets. It whispers them, softly, like a warning. Because once the sun sets, this island doesn't belong to the living anymore. 7. Roosevelt Island, New York. Between Manhattan's skyline and Queens' quiet shore lies a narrow strip of land, where screams once echoed through stone walls, and sanity was left at the door. Roosevelt Island was once home to the infamous New York City Lunatic Asylum, a place meant for healing, but known more for suffering. Patients were locked away, forgotten, and silenced. Some weren't even mentally ill, just inconvenient. At night, nurses reported hearing laughter from empty rooms, or seeing figures staring out barred windows long after the patients inside had died. The most chilling part? The Renwick Smallpox Hospital, a Gothic ruin that still stands. Locals say it's haunted by the ghosts of the diseased and the damned. Passers-by have seen flickering lights in the broken windows, shadows pacing just beyond the crumbling walls, and some swear they've heard whispers in the wind, calling them by name. The city keeps building around it. Tourists pass by on the tram, but Roosevelt Island remembers every brick, every scream, because the past may be buried, but here it still speaks. Eight, Hart Island, New York. It's the loneliest place in New York. Not because no one's there, but because over 1 million souls lie buried, and almost no one ever visits. Hart Island, in the Bronx, has been a mass grave for the unclaimed, the forgotten, and the lost since the 1800s. Victims of disease, the homeless, stillborn babies, all buried in long, silent rows by prisoners from Rikers Island. No names, no markers, just dirt and silence. But that silence doesn't last at night. Workers have reported the sound of children crying, though there are no children. Shadows flicker at the edge of the woods. Voices echo from the graves, and visitors say they feel a strange pressure, like something unseen is watching them. Some even claim the spirits are trying to speak, not to scare, but to be remembered. Hart Island isn't just haunted, it's heartbroken. And when the fog rolls in across the water, it feels less like an island, and more like a place where the dead are still waiting to be found. Nine, Duski Island, South Carolina. It looks like paradise. Quiet beaches, moss-draped trees, and no cars in sight. But Duski Island hides a deeper, older soul, one that whispers through the gullah traditions passed down for generations. Locals speak of haints, restless spirits that slip through cracks in the night. To keep them out, families paint their doors and windows haint blue. But sometimes, the color isn't enough. In the heart of the island lies a church where candles flicker without wind, where a child's laughter echoes when no one's there. One visitor swore she saw a woman in white standing beneath a tree, swaying as if hung, then vanishing when approached. There are tales of cursed land, of slave spirits protecting their burial grounds. And sometimes, at night, lights dance across the swamps, not fireflies, but something older, something watching. Duski doesn't just have ghosts, it breathes with them. And when the last boat leaves and the sun sinks low, you'll understand why no one wants to be left behind. Ten, Deer Island, Mississippi. A quiet island on the Gulf Coast, Deer Island looks peaceful by day. But as darkness falls, the shadows come alive with stories that refuse to stay buried. Locals whisper about the headless ghost, a restless spirit said to roam the shoreline, searching endlessly for its missing head. Some say it's the victim of a violent past, cursed to wander forever. Then there's the firewater ghost, a flickering flame seen dancing just above the marshes on moonless nights. Fishermen say it's a warning, or a lure, pulling the unwary into the cold, dark waters. Those brave enough to walk the island after dusk report strange whispers carried by the wind, and footsteps following just out of sight. Deer Island's calm surface hides a restless heart, and if you listen closely, you might hear it beating, calling you into the darkness. These islands remind us that sometimes the dead don't stay buried, and their stories are far from over. Which haunted island sent chills down your spine? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe if you dare to explore more terrifying tales with me.